The sun beat down on the outdoor shooting range as Emily, a modestly dressed woman in her 30s, carefully unpacked her old rifle. Around her, a group of seasoned shooters in expensive tactical gear exchanged smirks. Their laughter was barely concealed as they eyed her worn-out equipment. Emily ignored them, focusing on setting up her target with quiet determination. The snobby shooters whispered among themselves, making bets on how badly she'd perform. Little did they know, Emily had a secret, one that would soon leave them speechless. As Emily loaded a single round into her rifle, the onlookers stifled giggles. "Looks like she's saving ammo," one quipped, earning chuckles from his friends. Emily adjusted her stance, her movements deliberate and practiced. The range officer gave her the go-ahead, and the crowd prepared for what they assumed would be a mediocre shot. But Emily's calm demeanor never wavered. She took a deep breath, exhaled halfway, and squeezed the trigger. The crack of the rifle echoed across the range, followed by an eerie silence. The target was 500 yards away, a distance even experienced shooters struggled with. As the electronic scoring system displayed the result, the mocking grins froze. Dead center. A perfect bullseye. The snobby shooters gaped, their arrogance crumbling in an instant. Emily simply nodded, as if she'd expected nothing less. One of the men stammered, That was luck, right?" But Emily didn't bother responding. She packed up her rifle, her quiet confidence speaking louder than any boast. The range erupted in murmurs as Emily walked away. The shooters who'd mocked her now scrambled to check the target themselves, as if doubting their eyes. A woman in the group, previously silent, muttered, "She didn't even use a scope." The realization hit them like a shockwave. Emily had made an impossible shot with iron sights. The men who'd been so quick to judge now looked ashamed. Their expensive gear suddenly felt like a crutch compared to her raw skill. As Emily reached her car, the range officer jogged after her. "Ma'am, that was incredible," he said, breathless. "Where'd you learn to shoot like that?" Emily smiled faintly. "My grandpa taught me. He said fancy gadgets don't make the shooter." The officer nodded, impressed. Behind him, the snobby group huddled, still in disbelief. One of them finally admitted, "We owe her an apology." But Emily was already gone, leaving behind a lesson in humility and a story they'd never forget. Back at the range, the atmosphere had shifted. The once boastful shooters were now quiet, reflecting on their behavior. The woman who'd spoken earlier approached the target, studying the single, perfect hole. "She didn't just outshoot us," she said. "She showed us what real skill looks like." The men nodded, their earlier arrogance replaced with grudging respect. One sighed. "Guess we've been focusing on the wrong things." The group packed up their high-end gear, humbled by the unassuming woman who'd schooled them without saying a word. Word of Emily's shot spread quickly through the shooting community. Range regulars who hadn't witnessed it firsthand demanded details, skeptical until they saw the target. Photos of the bullseye circulated online, sparking debates about skill versus equipment. Some insisted it was a fluke, but those who'd been there knew better. Emily became a legend overnight, though she never sought attention. She returned to the range weeks later, greeted this time with nods of respect, even from those who'd once mocked her. This time, no one laughed when Emily set up her old rifle. Instead, a small crowd gathered at a respectful distance, eager to watch her shoot. Emily paid them no mind, focusing as always. When she fired, another perfect shot rang out, silencing any remaining doubters. The snobby shooters from before approached hesitantly. We owe you an apology," one admitted. Emily just smiled. "No need. Just remember, skill isn't bought." With that, she left them once again, her lesson lingering in the air. The group she'd humbled began to change their ways. They practiced more, bragged less, and even started using iron sights to improve their fundamentals. The woman who'd defended Emily became her occasional shooting partner, learning from her quiet expertise. The range, once divided by egos, grew into a tighter-knit community. And it was all because of one unassuming woman who'd let her shooting do the talking. Emily's legacy wasn't just a perfect shot, It was a reminder that true skill speaks for itself. Months later, a regional shooting competition was held at the same range. The Snobby group, now humbler, signed up, but so did Emily. Spectators whispered, recognizing her from the stories. As the competition progressed, the high-tech shooters performed well, but all eyes were on Emily. When her turn came, she raised her rifle, took aim, and fired. Another flawless shot. The crowd erupted, not in mockery this time, but in awe. The judges awarded her first place, and even her former detractors applauded. At the awards ceremony, Emily was asked to say a few words. She hesitated, then spoke, softly. Shooting's not about gear or ego. It's about patience, practice, and respect. Her words resonated deeply, especially with those who'd learned the hard way. Afterward, competitors lined up to shake her hand, including the once snobby group. You changed how we see the sport, one confessed. Emily just nodded. Good. Now go teach others. Her impact extended far beyond that day, inspiring a new wave of shooters to focus on skill, not status. Emily's story became a cautionary tale against underestimating others. Shooting ranges nationwide shared it as a reminder to welcome newcomers, not judge them. The Snobby group, now reformed, even started a mentorship program for beginners. They'd come full circle thanks to the woman they'd once dismissed. Emily, meanwhile, continued shooting quietly, her reputation growing but her humility unchanged. She'd never wanted fame, just the chance to enjoy her passion without pretension. Years later, a documentary crew approached Emily about featuring her in a film about extraordinary marksmen. She declined at first, but they persuaded her by promising to focus on the sport's values, not just her skill. The film, titled One Shot, highlighted her story and its ripple effect. The Snobby shooters, now her friends, appeared, candidly admitting their past arrogance. The documentary inspired countless viewers, proving that a single moment of humility can transform lives. Emily's old rifle, once a source of mockery, was donated to a shooting museum as a symbol of skill over extravagance. Next to it hung the target from that fateful day, the single bullet hole circled in gold. Visitors often paused there, reflecting on the lesson it represented. Meanwhile, Emily continued to shoot, though she now occasionally taught clinics, always emphasizing fundamentals. A good shooter doesn't need the fanciest gear, she'd say, just a clear mind and steady hands. The Snobby group, now respected mentors, often assisted Emily in her clinics. They'd joke about their first encounter, no longer ashamed but grateful for the wake-up call. One of them even wrote a book, The Shot That Changed Us, detailing their journey from arrogance to humility. Emily wrote the foreword, her words simple but profound. Never judge a shooter by their rifle. The book became a bestseller in the sports community, further cementing her legacy. Emily's influence reached professional shooters, some of whom began adopting minimalist approaches to honor her philosophy. Major competitions even added a no-optics category in her honor. The sport evolved, shifting focus from equipment wars to pure skill. Emily never took credit, though. It's not about me, she'd insist. It's about remembering why we shoot. Her modesty only deepened the respect others had for her. On the 10th anniversary of her legendary shot, the range hosted a celebration in Emily's honor. Hundreds attended, including world-class marksmen she'd inspired. The highlight was a reenactment of her original bullseye. Now in her 40s, Emily stepped up to the line, her same old rifle in hand. The crowd held its breath as she fired. Another perfect hit. The applause lasted minutes, a testament to her enduring impact. After the event, a young girl approached Emily, clutching a worn-out rifle. "Can you teach me?" she asked shyly. Emily smiled, kneeling to her level. "Absolutely." As they walked to the range together, the cycle continued. Another generation learning that true skill comes from within. The Snobby shooters, now gray-haired mentors, watched with pride. They'd once been the villains in Emily's story, but now they were part of something greater. Emily's life had taken an unexpected turn because of one shot, but she remained unchanged. She still drove the same old truck, still used the same rifle, and still shunned the spotlight. The world might have seen her as a legend, but to her, she was just a shooter who loved the sport. That humility, more than anything, was what made her extraordinary. As the years passed, Emily's story became folklore in the shooting world. Newcomers were told the tale as a rite of passage. Ranges adopted Emily's rule, a policy of respect for all shooters, regardless of gear. The Snobby group's transformation became as much a part of the story as the shot itself, proving that people can change. Emily's quiet strength had started a movement. On her 50th birthday, Emily received a gift from the once snobby shooters, a custom plaque with her original target and the words, "One shot, infinite impact." She hung it in her modest home, touched but unfazed by the recognition. That afternoon, she was back at the range, coaching a diverse group of beginners. Among them was the now-grown girl she'd taught years earlier, herself a champion. The legacy lived on. Emily's story reminds us that greatness often comes in unassuming packages. A single act of skill paired with quiet dignity can shatter prejudices and inspire change. The Snobby shooters learned that day that true mastery isn't about appearances. It's about what you do when no one's watching. And Emily? She's still out there somewhere letting her rifle do the talking, one perfect shot at a time.